Welcome back. My name is Eve Daniels, aka The Nerdy Nanny, and times are a changin'. If you saw last Sunday's video, you will know that there are some pretty major life changes coming ahead for me in the following months and even years. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it here somewhere, because I'm not explaining all that right now. Go watch this. Obviously, these changes will impact my plans as a writer, an author, and a small business owner. They will change what happens with the Nerdy Nanny moving forward. Earlier this month, I did a video where I talked all about all of the admin work that I wanted to take care of this month, which is June. For detailed info on all of that and a sneak peek of all of the many menial and time-sucking tasks you have to handle as a self-employed author, again, here. Because again, so not getting into all of that right now. We're going to keep this simple and just do a rundown. For those who don't know, I am a children's author. I have 5 books published with another 5 on the way, and I have created my own publishing house. The books that I have now are The Girl and Her Stars, Pancakes Aren't for Puppies, Small But Mighty, a cultural book called Sisu, and This Is Alex. I will link those down below in case anyone wants to check them out for themselves. Obviously, the books that I have out already are already done, so what's happening this fall will not impact that. I had originally planned 10 kids books for phase 1, and I wanted those to be done by November of this coming year because that will be 2 years since I published my first ever kids book, The Girl and Her Stars. Whether or not that was actually going to happen on time is debatable, but that was the plan. That's still the plan, only now there's a lot more added time pressure because starting in August, my time will not really be my own anymore, and I may not have time to work on any projects for the foreseeable future. So I have to get all of the work that I would have gotten done between now and November done before August. It's not stressful at all. Other than the 5 books that are already out, I have 5 more in production. The 10th book is actually a collection of the 6 Nerdy Nanny classics. It is more cost-effective to print and therefore less costly for parents and relatives. Obviously, since most of the other stories would already be done by then, the 10th book doesn't really count, but will still need to be formatted and therefore marketed. These are things that I'm now going to have to take care of on a much shorter time frame. Most of this stuff is already done, and spoiler alert, I'm actually filming this with about 10 days left of June, so I still have 10 days to finish up those last touches. The formatting of the book that's done, the page layout of the book I just got illustrations with, and then the formatting of that, and the drafting for TBJM. Whether or not I get those done at the end of the month, we'll have to ask future me about at the end of this video. The original intention of this was in November to have all of these books done so that I could start transitioning into other projects. I wanted to start having more live events, work more with the Palm Beach Literacy Coalition, who I've done events with in the past, and build the platform and the engagement that I've been creating to move into transitional chapter books, full-fledged chapter books, and eventually middle grade fiction. While the projects that I have done are done, and the rest of phase 1 will remain largely unchanged, because of what's happening this fall, most of that second step has been put on an indefinite hold. I don't know when I'll have time to create middle grade fiction. I know I'll never stop writing, but for the foreseeable future, I will stop publishing. And under any other circumstances, that would be a real kick in the gut, but I am so excited about the opportunities that I have coming up and everything that they mean that I can't help but feel great about it, even if it does mean my publishing has to be put on hold. So that's where I am with my writing projects. But so much of Project June was administrative type stuff. So, quick overview. One of the things I wanted to do was streamline my website, maybe revamp a few things, and create an online sales channel. This has been completely scrapped. I will have to transfer the domain. Beyond that, everything else that I wanted to get done has been put on pause indefinitely. One thing that I did manage to take care of early in the month was getting a DBA, or a doing business as. You do have to file a fictitious name claim with a local newspaper in the county that you want to operate in. That cost $35 and took one form and a few clicks of a mouse. The DBA was similar. The DBA was about $70 and bada bing bada boom, I can now accept payments from the Nerdy Nanny. Someone pay me, please. I did decide against creating a Nerdy Nanny specific bank account because, like I've mentioned, I'm going to be on pause for a while, so the hassle doesn't seem worth it. I did go ahead and hire a CPA. Because I won't have a lot of time and energy, knowing that my taxes are being handled by someone who specializes in taxes for authors and other creatives is a huge weight off my mind. Lizelle Sambury actually did a really great video on her author taxes, which I will link below. Goes into the whole thing, and it's what got me started thinking it was something I might want to do as well. The last main category that I really wanted to take care of as far as Project June was concerned was dealing with my social media. And make no mistake, that was not a small thing. I have channels and content spread across multiple platforms. Organizing that, coordinating it, figuring out what kind of content to put out when and how to put it out was a huge mental drain. If streamlining and minimizing the amount of thought and labor going into that process was important before, it is crucial now. I also wanted to make sure that the content that I was putting out was good, it was quality content, and it furthered the ideals of what I was trying to represent. The good news is, I think I've cracked it. Here are a couple of the guidelines that I set in place for myself to help take some of the decision burden off and make my social media presence more clear, consistent, and a lot less work for me. I tracked how long things actually took, so I knew how long they took to do. This sounds mind-bogglingly simple, and it is, but I hadn't done it. I took the amount of time that I was willing to spend on social media, which was about 5 to 6 hours per week max, and I budgeted from there. I also took a look at what kind of content I wanted to put out there, and I made specific guidelines for myself, which helps to reduce the amount of stress and uncertainty when I'm trying to figure out what to post next. I made a publishing schedule. Again, this sounds ridiculously simple, but part of the reason why I struggled so much with social media before was because I had things going up on multiple platforms on different days. I made an index card. It's this big. It has the different channels, and it has the days of the week. And I scheduled out when I want to post on which platform. It sounds ridiculously simple, but it helps. One realization I made when I was going through what kind of content I wanted to make and all of my social media was that I don't want to make kids content for YouTube. Originally, I started this channel in quarantine, thinking that kids would be watching it as a way to find something to do. Though I do want to make kids content at some point in some way, other than the books, right now I need to be focusing elsewhere. I've also used the guidelines that I created to help focus the kind of content I want on thenerdynanny.com. Giving myself these guidelines, I don't think of as limiting my content, but rather focusing my intention. If I want to create a certain content, like a guideline for writing compelling characters, that's a YouTube thing, because YouTube's the writing stuff. If I want to talk about healthy ways to encourage your kids to read, That would go on the Nerdy Nanny, because it's education and kid-based. With these guidelines, I'm able to explore different avenues while also creating a backlog of content that I can post and keeping my channels diverse. One thing I do want to mention, I was a little stumped in the beginning of the month. I had a pretty major event on me. I had someone new move into my house, and I actually had to move my bedroom and my entire living situation into my office. And yes, this is related to what's happening in the fall. If you want to see me panic and try to recreate a tiny house in my office, here, I assume. The point I'm trying to get at is I managed to move my entire life, go through all of my things, declutter, haul heavy furniture, clean, install shelves in 3 days. And yet, for some reason, I was kicking myself because I hadn't managed to tackle the goals that I'd wanted. Even though I knew logically that if I hadn't moved in the beginning of the month, I would have had to move at the end of the month anyways, and it would have still been a disruption. The other thing is that I had a really hard time giving myself any credit for figuring out my social media solutions, even though I was really proud of the end result. I think what I'm trying to get at is that it can sometimes be hard to track our progress when they differ from the goals that we set for ourselves, or when there's something intangible. And I feel like it's important that we give ourselves that credit, because feeling like you haven't completed anything is a really slippery slope to feeling like you can't complete anything. And that's not true. You can do a lot. You're freaking awesome. So that's where I am with the whole Project June situation. Now, on to Camp Nano. Yes, I will be participating in July's Camp NaNoWriMo, and I actually plan to tag on to Morgan Lee's 10K a day challenge, as insane as it is. But I have modified it. Instead of doing 10K a day, I'm trying to do 5K a day, 5 days a week. Part of the reason I'm doing it this way is because there are 2 days a week where I work double shifts. I will not be writing on the days where I work doubles. No. I'm just not. I'm not that crazy. But I do think that 5K a day is honestly a reasonable goal for me, especially because I will be jumping between projects. Most of this will probably be backstocking articles for the Nerdy Nanny. These articles are usually between 1,000 and 1,200 words long, but they can be on a variety of different topics, everything from study techniques and education tips for parents to cool facts about bats, or how to make your own window box garden, or cool science fair ideas. It depends. But because they cover such a diverse range, if I'm not feeling one topic, I can jump to another. I might also want to try posting on Medium if I draft anything that I think is particularly awesome. But I've never done that before, so we'll see. I will also have another couple of projects on the side just to keep things interesting. One of which is a project I haven't mentioned before called SCSH, which was actually my planned middle grade fiction that I would get into at some point in the future, which has now been postponed. Again, I'm not actually able to stop writing. I know, I've tried, it doesn't work. So I'm just gonna roll with it. After the last 10K weekend we all did on AuthorTube for last month's Camp NaNoWriMo, Cachet did this really cool article on what she learned from the process. And I thought it was a really cool reframing for mental headspace. I'll link that article below because she explains it way better than me, but a couple of the things she said stuck out. One was that if you have a variety of projects that you can go to, you can basically follow your muse wherever it goes. The other thing that she said was that she got most of her words in on a new draft. So have a blank project handy. With that in mind, before camp kicks off, I want to do some outlining using character maps for SCSH. The plan is that before Camp Nano kicks off, I want to do some outlining using character maps for SCSH. This is something that I've done before with other longer projects, but I've never actively applied like this to a brand new draft. It is something that helps guide my writing though, and Cachet was actually really interested when I brought it up in the comment sections of one of her videos. So we're going to do a quick 1-hour workshop so I can explain to her and to all of you exactly what the heck a character map is. We would love to have you join us for the live action version, so if you have any questions, you can ask them then. It's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, June 30th. And Cachet will be co-hosting with me. If anyone else is interested in joining in, let me know. I think it'll be fun. So that's where we are. My life is about to change massively. And so will my writing plans. My Phase 1 projects are largely done or mostly underway. I still have to do some formatting, a little bit of web stuff, the ISBNs, and at least one other thing that I'm currently forgetting. Editing Eve, please pop it on the screen. Thank you. We will be doing a live stream on Tuesday to help prep for camp, but as I mentioned before, this is currently June 20-something. So there's about 10 days left of June. And in that frame of mind, let's go ahead and ask Future Eve how we got on with our checklist. Future Eve, take it away. Thank you for that segue past Eve. Careful observers may note that my location has changed. I'm at my babysitting family's house and I need to do this quick before the girls notice I'm gone. Okay, so we're gonna speed through this. The website, haven't done any of it. Didn't have time. I'm just gonna make it a recurring maintenance task. I'm gonna have to add an extra hour a week to deal with that if I can't get it done in July, but I'm gonna try to get as much of it done ahead of time as I can. Basically, I wanna go through my backlog of articles, proofread, edit, correct citations, add pictures and formatting where possible, and maybe spiff up the landing page a little bit. That's it, but that's just gonna be a recurring task that I'm just gonna have to work in. The second thing was the domain transfer. Haven't done that at all. Didn't have time. I will be dealing with that on Monday. That is officially Monday's problem. I do this a lot where I will figure out what I need to do for something and then make it some other day's problem. I will not rest on Monday until I get that done. This is Monday's problem. That means Monday is dealing with this. Okay? You hear that, Monday, Eve? You're doing it. The other things were the formatting and the ISBN changes, and that I got done. So ecstatic. I think I did nothing but that through Camille's stream, Cachet's stream, Elsie Clemens' stream. Basically, if I was talking about formatting in your streams this week, this is what I've been doing. I basically had to take down and reformat all of my kids' books, in some cases from scratch, because some of my original files were corrupted when I lost my laptop a year ago, and that was a pain in the butt, but I have it done. So all of my books had to be delisted, reformatted, and relisted with active, correct ISBNs. The ISBN thing means that I can sell them in an international market. I can sell them at bookstores, that I can sell them pretty much anywhere other than Amazon. I didn't do it before because I was cheaping out, and now I put my big girl panties on and I did it, okay? So it's done. It's done. Only drawback, and I knew this was going to be a drawback, but it still really sucks, is that because I had to unlist and relist all Magpie. Sorry, there's two birds fighting over there. Because I had to unlist and relist all of my books, any reviews that I had over the last 2 years are gone. That is on Amazon, it's on Goodreads, it's everywhere. So, if any of you have spare time over the weekend and feel like reviewing children's picture books, I'll leave them linked down below. And I think that's just about it, except before we go, take a look at that view. All right, happy writing. I hope to see all of you guys soon, and Cachet and I will be streaming on Tuesday to do our character maps in prep for Camp NaNoWriMo. Until then, be good.